What's up YouTube? Matt here with Rollin' Wrench. Do you guys remember this bike, right? The GY6 bushing video that was out a few weeks ago? I'm using this same bike to basically run you through the basic maintenance on a GY6 engine. It'll cover like oil change, engine oil change, gear oil change, spark plug replacement, just basic stuff. This will cover buggies, scooters, and there's a few like pocket bike looking / scooter motorcycles that have GY6 engines in them. How do you know if you have a GY6? Let me show you. So here I have a GY6 engine on a stand. This is really difficult to see. Let's see if we can even see it. All right, I don't know if you can see this, but right here it says BN. We're not worried about that. And then there's a 157 QMJ. So that 1 is the number of cylinders. The 57 is the bore size. So this is a 150, and the some of them will say 152. The 57 millimeter bore is a 150, and 52 is a 125. And then it says QMJ. So I've got one of these 157 QMJ, and again, that plate is right here. Difficult to read. They make two versions of this GY6 engine. This here is a GY6A motor. These are fairly cheap to get, around $400 or $500. You can get a brand new GY6 engine, and it's a GY6A motor that's made in China. Or you have the GY6B motor, which is found in a lot of the Kimcos, Genuines, but it's made in Taiwan. The two differences is purely quality. The quality is much better on the B motor. Taiwanese quality is always better than Chinese quality. But the biggest difference is the stud spacing on the cylinder there. I couldn't tell you right off the top, but basically you can do a larger big bore kit if you do the B motor. So like this is a 232 cc. The largest you can go on this guy. Unless you do a really large stroker crank, I believe you can do 216 cc. But with my experience, it's been a 190 cc is like the safe biggest you can go. Both motors are extremely reliable. I've never had any problems with motors failing or anything like that. The only reason why you would go with the GY6B motor is you just want the larger displacement. And if you really want to worried about the quality, which I've not had problems with, then you can do that too. Sometimes if you import a motor like this one, this was built from scratch, there's not any markings on there. So if that's your case, then if there's no markings, this is what the GY6 looks like. This doesn't have a kickstart cover, it's all opened up, and this has an oil cooler. So that's a little bit different, but you can look at the way it's laid out, and it's going to be the same thing on the other side. It's got the fan over here. The biggest thing would be like the starter is here, just like this one. We're going to change the engine oil, change the gear oil, change the spark plug, just basic maintenance on the GY6 engine. We're not going to get into the valve adjustment. I just want this to be a basic, real basic how-to video for general maintenance. Here are the supplies that you're going to need to do the maintenance on your GY6 engine. So I've got 75W90, it's just a GL4 gear oil, same gear oil that goes into a rear end on a car. You're going to need 125 milliliters. We do have a small bottle pre-measured on our website. You'll need some carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner to clean up any overspilled oil and clean out the filter. I'll show you how to do that. You'll need 10W40 4-stroke scooter oil. You can use 20W50 as well. You'll need a drain pan, 10 millimeter socket, some shop rags, a funnel, 9/16 socket, spark plug socket, or a 16 millimeter with a wrench, a socket wrench, or a T-handle, and then a 17 millimeter. Doesn't have to be a gear wrench, or a 17 millimeter socket works. And then a CR7 HSA spark plug. And then if you want to upgrade your drain plugs, I'll show you all about that. We have these on our websites too, on our website as well. This is a magnetic drain plug kit. And then if you want to upgrade your drain plugs on your scooter, motorcycle, buggy, whatever your GY6 is, you can find these on our website. It's a magnetic drain plug kit. I'll show you all about that too. So this is everything you're going to need to maintain your scooter. If you're going to do a valve adjustment, you'll need feeler gauges. We're not going to cover that in this video, but just so you know, the valves are set to 0.004, intake and exhaust if you decide to do that. Step one is to start the unit, motorcycle, ATV, scooter, buggy, whatever it is. Let it warm up, 5 minutes or so, get the oil warmed up. You don't want it like blazing hot because you're going to drain the oil, but just warm it up for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we're going to change the oil. So there's kind of 2 drain plugs on the GY6. There's one up under here. That's and that has a little filter in it, and then the other one is right here. I generally only drain one because I tilt the bike all the way over and lean it over to the side, so I don't need to do that. So let's do that first. Okay, I'm going to start by putting our pan up underneath the scoot. Then we got our 17 millimeter. Remember Lefty Loosey? That was actually way loose, what I like to see. So the spring tension, you can feel a spring. See if I'm pushing up on that, you just get a little bit of movement. So I'm kind of pushing in as I turn, and I'm doing it real slow. There we go. Just like that. And then see how there's a spring, and then the cap, and then you got your little filter, just like that. So I'm just going to set that aside, wipe that up. So then you tilt it over, tilt the motor over. I got my rag in there. Tilt the motor over. You're just going to do that until it basically finishes draining. I'm going to actually pour this, get some of that out of there. This is not a big enough drain pan. The one I normally use is in my mobile repair vehicle. But yeah, I'll just drain this and then we'll keep going. That oil, by the way, is really bad. Okay, got that drained and back to pouring more oil out of the engine. So if you don't want to do this, like I said, there's another drain plug on the other side, but this is the way that I do it every time. So here's our drain plug. If you notice, there's just some metal shavings and things in there that the filter didn't catch. So what we want to, this is the filter, and then you got your spring, and goes in just like that. So you want to clean all of this stuff up with some carburetor cleaner. Let me show you what I mean here. So this is done draining, so spray. Oops, that didn't work. There's that. Clean that up, and then inside your cap here, of course. And then when you wipe out you're wiping out all the excess oil, don't use a lint-free rag, because if you don't, then you're gonna get little pieces of lint, and that could clog up in the oil pump or in the screen. There's one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, the oil plug. So you notice, like in your car, if you ever change the oil in your car, there's a magnet on the bottom that catches all the the debris that flies around in the engine. Well, here's a magnetic drain plug kit. It comes with the 2 drain plugs, the one that goes on the other side of the motor, and then the drain plug, the main drain plug, and then this is for the gear oil. So it's kind of like a kit. We have that on our website as well. You can upgrade the drain plug if you'd like. The only thing is, see, this magnet would go right into here, and then that would go on top of there. But because of that magnet's there, the spring tension will be more when you go to install the drain plug into the motor. So let's put that drain plug in now. So here's the drain there. Just want to show you that real quick. So when you install the drain plug, you're going to want to kind of like push up. You do this by hand for sure. And you want to make sure everything is lined up real nice. And you're gonna, that doesn't feel right. There we go. So push up and turn at the same time. Definitely never use any type of like socket or wrench or anything until you've gotten it, 3 or 4 turns. I go until I can't turn anymore on the drain plug. Then you got your 17mm wrench. And you're going to tighten that down just snug. Maybe, this is a guess, 10 foot-pounds. You can look that up. I just always just do it snug. If you don't know your own strength, then yeah, you'll have to look that up. Alright, so now we need to fill it up. Here is our dipstick and fill hole. There's the dipstick. Okay, so just get your funnel, stick it in there. Do at least half right off the bat, half the quart. Just let it drain down. Sometimes you just got to take your time. But it's going to take a little over a half a quart, about 3/4 of a quart. So I've done this so many times I can almost just guess. All right. So I haven't used the whole quart up, but what we do, you want to wipe off your dipstick here, just like that, so you can see those two little marks, one there, one there. We want our oil level to be right between there. The other thing about this is you want to make sure the engine is straight up and down. Right now it's not. So I screwed it all the way in. Tilt the scooter upright so it's straight up and down. And then you can pull your dipstick out and see where you're at. Looks like I'm not even close. I'm just below that first line. The goal is to be between these two lines. This is an aftermarket dipstick. This is what a like an OEM dipstick looks like. You see that? See, it's got a graded area in there. You want the oil to be within the graded area here. Doesn't matter if it's way down here at the bottom or the top, just in this graded area here. But that's out of a stock GY6. This is an aftermarket NCY dipstick. Alright, so I'll add a little bit more oil. So the key here is don't overfill the oil. It's easier to add oil than it is to drain it again. So just little baby steps until we get it right. Alright, I've got it all the way up now. The engine's nice and centered, not leaned over on the kickstand. And let's see where we're at. We're right there, which isn't good yet. We still got to keep adding. So, like I said, baby steps. Oh, good. So right now we are right between the two little marks. So we are perfect with it centered. I will say that you're pretty much good once, you know, with a car or a motorcycle that has a filter, you have to start it and recheck the engine oil level, because the filter sucks up some of the oil. In this case, you don't have to do that, but it always is a good idea to run it and then recheck it. So let's do that. Let that run for just a minute. You got to give it a minute for the engine oil to seep back down into the motor. But you always want to, you know, pull the dipstick and then, of course, wipe it off so you don't get a false reading. And then center the motor again, and then screw it down, then unscrew and reach. We're going to check our level. So we are still good. So it's right there between the graded area. It's hard to see, but we are good. So that is an engine oil change. Okay, so over on the right side of the engine, this is where your spark plug coil wire is plugged into your spark plug. On some other models, it may not be that easy to access. Some of them you have to come in from the top underneath the seat. If it's a scooter, buggies should be pretty exposed, and so should the ATVs. So like I said, I just pull that off. Then you're going to grab your 16mm or 9/16 spark plug socket. You're just going to loosen that guy and get it out of there. Alright, so just unscrew that, just like that. This is a low-grade spark plug. I would recommend the NGK. There's all kinds of upgrading going on here. So grab your CR7 HSA. They come pre-gapped. from NGK. And then now you're going to just screw it in by hand. Real easy. You don't ever want to use a wrench. You want to get as far in, 4 or 5 turns before you actually start cranking it down. And then you could crank it down. It's just going to be a snug. Not too tight. And then when you put your spark plug coil back on, you're going to notice when I push here, you hear that zip? Make sure it makes that noise. And then you're done. That's the spark plug install. Okay, so we're moving on over to the left side of the scoot. Okay, so there's this 10mm up under here. When you loosen it, you want to make sure that the crush washer comes out with it. I'm just loosening slowly, and I can feel the crush washer. So there we go. We'll just let that drain out. And then meanwhile, this is the fill hole here. And loosen that. And we're actually going to fill up the oil there once it's done draining. There's also a crush washer up there as well, so don't lose that. So this is really straightforward. So there's my crush washer. I'm just going to start threading this drain plug back in since it's done draining. This stuff is pretty thick stuff. Sometimes it takes a while, especially if the temperature is cold. It looks like honey. You should do this every other oil change. And then the oil change itself you should do every 500 miles is what I would recommend. Okay, now to fill it up, 125 milliliters. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold this scoot upwise, up straight like this, and then I'm just going to add gear oil, squeezing it in, and then I'll check it. Basically what I'm waiting for is it to start coming out of this hole. So squeeze it again, and that's how you'll know it's level. There it goes, and just like that. And I'm just gonna, I mean, if you've got a lot, you want it to let it drain out, but it's pretty much done. Alright, and tip that back over. And again, snug on these. Just snug. Make sure the crush washer gets crushed down. Every manufacturer has their own torque settings. Okay, so that's how you maintain your GY6 engine. Change the oil every 500 miles, 1,000 max, and then change the gear oil every other oil change. Same with the spark plug. Adjust your valves about every 3,000 miles. You need to set those to 0.004. I didn't show you how to do that, but I'll have another video on how to do that. Just make sure you hit the subscribe button, click the little blue bell so you get notified when new videos come out. And if you want to help support the channel, click the little link below. It sends you over to our Patreon account where you can help support the channel and be rewarded. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.